Hello everyone and welcome to Thank God It's Film, a news show where we look back at the week in entertainment. My name is David Craig and on today's show we're talking Alita Battle Angel, World War Z and Ted Bundy. You don't want to miss it. So our top story this week is that production on World War Z 2 has officially been halted, and I think that the film is essentially dead. Now, it has been in development hell since the summer of 2013, so this isn't hugely surprising, nor is it particularly that disappointing, because the first film is quite mediocre, and I don't think anybody remembers it very fondly. That said, the only argument in favour of World War Z 2 being made is that David Fincher was attached to direct. Now, not only does Fincher obviously have a lot of past success with Brad Pitt, the star of World War Z, but also, I have to say, the idea of a mega-budget zombie movie directed by David Fincher is pretty arousing, let's be honest. We're all thinking it. But ultimately, I'm sure Fincher can find more interesting projects to work on, and I don't think anyone is going to be mourning the loss of this movie too greatly. In slightly more exciting news, Edgar Wright's new movie is on its way and begun casting this week. The film is called Last Night in Soho. The Hollywood Reporter describes it as a horror thriller, but I suspect that there will be some comedic elements in there as well. It being an Edgar Wright movie, it would be strange if there wasn't. Anyway, Anya Taylor-Joy is the one who has nabbed the lead role in the movie. You may recognise her from M. Night Shyamalan's magnum opus, Glass and Split. She also obviously had a big breakout performance in The Witch a few years ago. I'm very glad that she's got the role. I think she's a fantastic actress and she's very well suited to horror movies. She's produced a lot of them so far and they've mostly been pretty good. That said, I did watch The Secret of Marrowbone the other day and it's frankly bizarre and not great, but everyone's allowed a blip here and there. In other news, we've got Sundance acquisitions. If that doesn't get you excited, I don't know what will. Netflix has acquired the streaming rights to the Ted Bundy biopic. It's called Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil and Vile. You may recall seeing a trailer for it at some point in the last month or so. Netflix acquired it for $8 million. Clearly, they're going big on Ted Bundy content recently. I believe the Ted Bundy Tapes documentary recently premiered on there to quite a lot of popularity. I can understand from a business standpoint why they would want more follow-up content. I do find it a bit weird that they've gone in so big on the Ted Bundy business, but to each their own. Clearly there's a market for it. I do think as well that this is probably for the best for Zac Efron, because the guy hasn't really had very much box office success recently. I don't think people really take him seriously as an actor. And so I think if he was able to get some kind of premium streaming service work, maybe like a really reputable TV series, that might be a way to kind of boost his credibility. And I definitely think that if this Ted Bundy biopic really takes off on Netflix, then Netflix would probably hire him for more work further down the line. Ultimately, I think more people will watch this movie on Netflix than would ever have gone to see it in the cinema. So that in itself is kind of a ringing endorsement. So to bring a close to this, frankly, superb premiere episode of TGIF, I'm going to introduce a segment which may or may not be recurring depending on how painful it ends up being. The sequence is called 30-Second Review, and it is exactly what it sounds like. I'm going to review a movie in 30 seconds. This week, it's Alita Battle Angel. Now, I'm actually a big fan of this movie, and the reason I'm confining myself to 30 seconds is because I know that I would end up going on about it ad nauseum if I were not to do that. So, without further ado, let's just start the timer. Okay, we're off. So, I think, without a doubt, the jewel in Alita Battle Angel's crown is the performance by Rosa Salazar. It blows my mind that this is the motion capture performance because it's so moving and so well done, and it just feels very real. There's a lot of great action sequences. The motorball tryouts, they're so good, they're so much fun. Yes, the plot is messy and the villains are a bit shit, but I still think it's worth seeing on the big screen. It's just a great big screen experience, for sure. Here we go. Definitely one of the more underrated iPhone ringtones in my opinion. And so we come to the end of the first ever episode of TGIF. Thank you very much for joining me. You may have noticed that this has been a little bit rushed and a little bit thrown together. The reason for that is that I'm just extremely busy at the moment and I really don't have time to be spending hours and hours making YouTube videos, unfortunately. That said, I do really enjoy making YouTube videos and I want to update my channel more regularly. So I'm trying out this format. Hopefully it will allow me to make videos more consistently and quicker, which, you know, really is just the name of the game, isn't it, these days? Thank you again for joining me. I will be back next Friday with more movie news. Hopefully, it will be even sexier than this week. Goodbye.